Hi, my name is Erin Rooney. My poster is on nursing education and vaccine compliance. Vaccine compliance is important to nursing because vaccination is the second most important factor in preventing infection, secondary only to hand washing. Nurses are responsible for monitoring vaccine and booster requirements both in school and in pediatricians' offices. The amount of unvaccinated children in the United States has doubled in the last 30 years, and this is important because vaccine preventable diseases can yield lifelong and life threatening consequences. Therefore, nurses must evaluate the most effective way to educate parents and therefore increase vaccine compliance. For this reason, the research question is, in school-age children, does additional educational outreach by nurses compared to no additional educational outreach by nurses increase the number of vaccinated children in school? For my literature search, I used EBSCOhost. My first search, I used the key terms vaccine compliance and nursing. The search yielded 5 results. I applied limiters, including published after 2011 in peer-reviewed journals in the United States. From here, I found one useful article. I again searched EBSCOhost, this time using the keywords vaccine compliance and education. The search yielded 15 results. I applied limiters, including published after 2011 in the United States, and did not find any helpful articles from this search. From here, I went back to my original helpful article that I found, looked in the sources, and found 2 articles published after 2011 in the United States. I analyzed the articles and determined that they would be useful for my study. The first of these articles was performed in 2012. It consisted of 2 randomized control trials. It looked at if text message reminders to both parents of both children and adolescents would increase immunization rates compared to those parents who did not receive text message reminders. The independent variable was the text message, and the dependent variable was rates of immunization. The study showed in both trials that children and adolescents whose parents received text message reminders were more likely to be vaccinated than those parents whose children did not receive text message reminders. The second study took place in 2016, and the purpose of this study was to determine if a school nurse-initiated 3-step method would increase vaccine compliance in school. The independent variable in this study was the 3-step method, consisted of 3 separate letters sent home to parents, and the third letter was accompanied by a phone call. The dependent variable was the rate of vaccine compliance, and the study showed that vaccine compliance rates were increased from 66% to 99.6%, and that 99.6% vaccine compliance significantly includes the national average for vaccine compliance rates in school. The last study was also a randomized control trial. This looked at the effectiveness of phone calls to parents, increasing rates of vaccine compliance. The independent variable of this study was the phone call reminder, and the dependent variable was the vaccination rate. The study did show that parents who received reminders were more likely to have vaccinated children than those parents who did not receive phone call reminders. Recommendations are number 1, to continue text message reminders. The cost of a text message is a maximum of 30 cents if the parent does not have a text messaging plan. Text messages can include addresses, phone numbers, and hours of operations of clinics that offer the recommended vaccination. In cases of an epidemic, the text message can include extended hours so parents know when they can bring their child in for a vaccination. The second recommendation is to continue the school nurse-initiated 3-step method, and this is a simple, cost-effective method that has proved to increase vaccine compliance rates in schools. Additionally, the published material sent home to parents can be published in both English and Spanish to make it more accessible. The third recommendation of the studies was to maintain current contact information. So the nurse would be responsible for confirming accurate contact information at every appointment. They can do this by providing parents with a contact record to be filled out every time they're in the office. Conclusions of this study are that vaccines are incredibly important to preventing infection, secondary only to hand washing, and this is of special concern to nurses because nurses are viewed as the most trusted healthcare professionals. Education can be provided in simple, effective cost-effective methods in both English and Spanish, as well as other languages, to reach the most amount of parents possible. Thank you.